What is up, everybody? It's Dr. Vibe here, host and producer of the award-winning Dr. Vibe show, the home of Epic Conversations, and I'm the host of Epic Conversations. Sorry with the little hiccup there. We're still working the bugs out in regards to this platform. And as always, I'd like to say you're blessed, highly favored, a magnet for miracles, a solution for someone's problem. Co-host and co-producer of the only online show in the world for dads, fathers, and male caregivers that's sponsored by Dove Men Plus Care. And being part of that team, I've reached out directly and indirectly to over 400,000 dads, fathers, and male caregivers around the world. I also am a two-time Canadian Ethnic Media Association Award winner, 2018 Innovation Award winner, 2020 Best Podcast News Award winner given out by the organization. And we are here broadcasting live on January 3rd. Not January. It's not January. I wish it, I'm glad we finally got warm weather here. So work with us today. We're having a little bit of some technical challenges here on the setup, but we are broadcasting live. Hope everyone is doing okay today. And this is actually another great day, another great week. Well, as always, I like to do now when we're doing a show, if you are watching live, even if you're watching on replay, what are some wins you've had this week? Give me a win that you've had this week. That would be fantastic for you to share. Love to hear about wins. Let me give you one of the wins I had this week. Actually, getting a better understanding of this platform has been a win for me this week, and had some good progress in some personal ventures with some organizations, with some people. So that's been all good. And I see some people here. No problem, producer. We're getting stuff done. We are getting stuff done. Some way, somehow, it's all good. So if you are here watching live, especially, comment section. Would love to hear what's going on with you today. And you also can see with the setup we have here, if you're watching, especially via mobile, in the top corner, there's a QR code. You can scan that and it will take you to my YouTube page. So you can see all the videos I've done. Lots, just say lots. I was going to say thousands, but I say lots. It's over 1,000, I think. I don't know if it's more than that, but it's all good. So let's see if anyone is in the comment section yet. No one yet? That's okay. All right. I did mention, and I do see there's some people in there. Oh, got some people piling in on the YouTube page. Good to see you this morning. All right. And I did mention a few things. So coming up on this Monday's show, we have Laura Lala Key. So if you don't know who she is, I have mentioned her a few times. She and Aisha K. Staggers host, got my Primetime Saturday, because there's so many shows going on in my head. Primetime Saturday with Aisha and Lala, where they try to make sense of the nonsense that's going on in America in regards to politics and political, and it's a minute by minute thing. So they're on tomorrow. But Laura is an international real estate agent. And if people have been around for a bit, we also have Ray McMillan, who is also a longtime real estate agent. He is based in Florida permanently now, and they both do international real estate. So we have them both coming on Monday's show to talk about international real estate. So if that's something you have been interested in the past or in the present, or maybe you're going to be interested in the future, saying, hey, you know what? I can't take living here. I'm going to make a move. They're going to be on Monday chatting about that. So we have Peter Dennis. Good morning, Peter Dennis. Good to have you on the Morning Vibe this morning. It's good to see you. Good to see you. There we go. Peter Dennis is in the house. All right. Before we go to break, I want to mention something special. So as I said, or maybe I didn't say, this weekend is Father's Day on Sunday. And it is a special day for all of us around the world. And I'm involved with a group called Dad Central. And Dad Central is Canada's national fatherhood organization. And we've been able to collaborate with Dove Men Plus Care in regards to a campaign about fatherhood. Now, if my producer can put it up on the screen, we can just show. So there we go. So, and also producer's doing a great job. He had a little bit of a hiccup at the beginning, but that's no problem. Dove Men Plus Care and Dad Center have combined to do a promotion. And this promotion is for dads around the world. And the hashtag is my most important role. Hashtag my most important role. And they're running it on LinkedIn. The instructions are there. You can see them visually. But the best thing for you to do, if you're a dad or you're a male caregiver, and there's also some men around the world who'd love to be dads, but they can't be dads. But they are a dad to different people. Go to that link, click on it. It takes you through the steps there in regards to being especially it helps if you're on LinkedIn, by the way. And it gives you some instructions on how to help support this campaign. And it's not just for Father's Day. I think we're just doing it every day, year round, but obviously we want to highlight Father's Day. And this is a campaign we've done with Dove Men Plus Care, and I've been part of the Dad Central organization now for about 5.5, 6 years. So we're really happy to have them on board with that. Okay, that is done. Screen share is done. We're out of that big time. And we're going to go to a break. And then we have a just longtime friend of the Morning Vibe and Dr. Aisha. And we have a new friend who is in a wonderful climate that I think many of us would like to be hanging out with today. But we're going to forget the weather. We're going to be talking about coding, Caribbean, and tech. So we'll be right back in 30 seconds. It's prime time Saturday with Aisha and Lala. So if it's prime time with Aisha and Lala, it's prime time to bring them on the stage.
When someone asked Homer to take it down, he said no because it was in the form of a question. This isn't Jeopardy.
It's going to be interesting to see how the world reacts. But for America, they're the one who put them there. So guess what? Somebody else worry about it.
So he doesn't have the popularity to win a race like that. So what does he do? He buys himself a government position.
There you go. Primetime Saturday with Aisha and Lala, 5 p.m. Saturdays Eastern Time, 2 p.m. Pacific. Again, where Aisha K and Lala try to make sense out of the nonsense that's going on in America. No, let's do some homework first or housework first. Subscribe to the Dr. Vibe Show on YouTube and hit the notification button. And I must say, yes, we are finally past 1,830 subscribers. Bam! We are all over that. Thank you so much for those who have done it. And if you haven't done it and you're up to it, please subscribe to the Dr. Vibe Show on YouTube. Next plateau, 1,840 subscribers. That's what we're hitting for next. Also, like the Dr. Vibe Show on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, and TikTok. Yes, and TikTok, because we're pushing out content on TikTok on a consistent basis, like 4 or 5 days a week. Also, join the Morning Vibe Discord group. Please email me at dr.vibe at the drvibeshow.com, or you can click on the link that is in the Discord link that's there. And also to advertise your business, product, or service on any of the platforms that I'm a part of, please email me at dr.vibe at the drvibeshow.com. And then finally, cannot forget, Dr. Tachi, who powers Indie Soup Media. Dr. Tachi, longtime digital friend of Dr. Vibe, based in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. She runs and programs Indie Soup TV, which is a platform on YouTube with about 25 to 30 independent content creators. And she is getting near to 30,000 subscribers on a YouTube channel in probably about 14, 15 months. So a lot of content that you see on the platforms that I live stream from are on that. I also am a member of the advisory board, and that is Indie Soup Media. All right, so we have two new friends today. We have Perry Douglas, who's a longtime friend of the Dr. Vibe Show, the Morning Vibe, etc., and Clifford Browne. So let's bring them to the stage. And there they are. Mr. Browne is here. And Mr. Douglas, are you here? Can we hear you?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, and Mr.
Dr. Vibe, I'm here. Yes.
And Perry has himself on mute, so we got to wait for Perry to unmute himself. And there we go. Are we there?
Man, you got me through. Yeah, I had to download Chrome this morning. I was just
Oh,
like,
sorry. My apologies. My apologies. Gentlemen, how are both of you
yeah,
doing?
I'm doing awesome.
good,
I'm doing
good.
great today. I'm blessed and highly favored. I'm
Blessed,
doing awesome.
blessed, highly favored, magnet for miracles, and a solution for someone's problem, I like to tell people. Good stuff. And Perry, what's going on in your world?
Nothing much, man. Just
Nothing.
working hard.
Perry,
Sorry.
Perry, nothing going on in your world?
There's
No.
always something going on in my world.
Thank you. That's better. That's better. That's better.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
both these gentlemen are very much passionate about expanding the world of technology, AI, to people who look like us. So, what I'm going to do is, Mr. Brown, I'd like you to introduce yourself and talk a little about your organization, the Caribbean Coding Academy.
All right. Thank you very much, Dr. Vive, for having me here. And Perry, thank you very much for the invitation. Clifford Browne. I am a Grenadian. I actually live in New York for almost 27 years. I basically have my background was finance, work on Wall Street for 15 plus years. And basically had a family there. I have three kids, one boy and two girls, happily married. And I decided after a while to move back to the Caribbean because I felt that I could have do more and have a bigger impact here. And I think that was one of the best decisions I ever made in my life. Actually, putting myself from the Wall Street, New York, and coming back to the Caribbean. From being in the Caribbean, especially uprooting my kids and bringing them here, um, it was challenging. It was a kind of, how should I put it? I had to adjust very quickly, adapt very quickly. But the experience was amazing, especially for my kids. Um, I love business, and the idea for me was always to come back and have an impact. So I was able to find some good friends of mine, like-minded individuals who were able to come together and say, "Hey, let's do something big. Let's do something different." And from there, Caribbean Coding Academy evolved. The idea here was to look, have an idea where the world is going. And for us, it was an opportunity to make sure that our kids, minority kids, don't get left behind with regards to technology. So we basically decided to start a school, an academy where we focus in on technology, where we focus in on coding. So we were able to, come together, find a place, and to start this organization. We had some ups and downs. We had a lot of success, but at the same time, we made a lot of impact. We have, as of today, we have quite a few relationships with international companies. In your neck of the woods, we have a partnership with UiPath, which is a Canadian company. They involve in RPA, robotic process automation. We we have a relationship with 6AI Technology. We have a relationship with Greenlight Consulting. We have relationship with companies in the US. We actually teach coding in about 7 secondary schools on the island of Grenada. I think we are the only one in the Caribbean doing that. It is a program that is sponsored by the government of Grenada. We have relationship with our junior college here on the island. Currently, right now, we have about 7 interns who actually every year we try to take the best and brightest to be part of us. We also have relationship with SGU, St. George's University, where we take graduates from there and put them through our internship program, our boot camp program, and where we actually export that service internationally. So we are preparing our young kids for the new digital economy. We are doing something that I think a lot of other islands not doing, and I know for a fact a lot of countries, developed countries, not doing. We are trying to make sure that our kids are prepared for tomorrow's job market.
Wonderful. Perry has been on before, but Perry, if you just want to do a short intro of yourself, and then we'll get into some conversation topics. And there's also comments already on the screen. But Perry, just give a little background on yourself, especially with 6AI.
Everybody knows who I am on the show.
Then
You know,
if everyone knew who you were,
chief
you'd be living in Grenada.
chief troublemaker in Toronto, right? That's who I am. But no, first of all, let me just say, I love what Clifford um, has said, and I'm all about leadership, and I'm all about doing things, not talking about things. But generally, from a 6AI perspective, 6AI is a software company. We focus on strategy software. We basically, not to get too technical, but we are AI agent based company that uses agents, AI agents, which we create our IP, which is the 6 steps of applied intelligence, and our Socratic conversational method IP and architecture. And basically, we offer enterprise solutions, individual solutions for individuals and corporations, organizations all around the world, as the software as a partner in helping them. Helping them develop strategy. Long story short, we are looking to disrupt the big consultant market, like the PwCs, McKinseys, and all that. And what we're trying to do is actually give people solutions where they can build strategies on their own without having to pay tens, hundreds, or millions of dollars to big consultancies for PowerPoint presentations. So that's who we are. We're big, and we're not big yet, but we're bold, and we're going after it.
Wonderful. Good stuff. Well, let's catch up on some comments here. They're flowing in. The food plane says, "Good morning, Dr. Vibe and Clifford and Perry DS here. Good to see you here as always." Let's go further down. He says he is fine. Good to hear that you are fine. And then he says the idea of a coding academy specifically for the Caribbean is powerful. Tech is the great equalizer. So true. I'm not going to get to your questions yet, Fuplin, because there's some people who want to say hello. So Fitness IQ Cam says, "Morning, everybody. Good to have you here." And gentlemen who I have, whoa, good long-time digital friend, Sydney McNary the third. Good to see you, Sid. And if you, oh, I've got some feedback going on here. All right. I just shut that down for a second. All right. That is good to have you here, Sid. And if anyone wants to know about how to have a peaceful life, I would strongly recommend you get in contact with Sid. He is a man of peace, big time. All right. Let's see how we're going to go. All right. You know what? I want to find out, how did Clifford and Perry cross paths?
Huh.
Ah,
Maybe
Perry,
Clifford
do
can
you
tell
want
us.
to go first on this one?
Yeah. I
Oh, I
mean,
can if you
you
want
can
me
go.
to.
Go first. Go first. I'm getting
Okay,
old. My
so
memory is shoddy. Go
So
ahead.
I think in 20, maybe just before COVID, myself and Perry hooked up because I think we shared a lot in common. And
Yes.
sometimes when you share things in common with other people, there's an energy that tend to connect to you. Just the other day, I was reading about "Good to Greatness" is a book that basically
Oh,
I think
yes.
everybody should read, and it talk about connecting with the right people and the discipline. And I think myself and Perry, we were able to connect. And we share passionate ideas with regards to having an impact. How can we come together as brothers, as minorities, and have a huge impact? And my words were basically his words because I think we were pretty much aligned, and that relationship started from there. Back then, there were a guy who came in, a high net worth individual came in from the United States, and basically he was the CEO of Disney Games, And I reached out to Perry and say, hey, I want to pull you into this because we want to do a tech hub in the Caribbean and I need your input. And again, Perry is a kind of individual that is very, very knowledgeable, straight shooter, and you were able to more or less bring a lot to the table at that point in time. Um, I knew where his vision was, where he wanted to go, what he wanted to achieve. Likewise, myself, and because of that common goal that we're all trying to achieve, we always stay together. I always try to support him when he have an idea. We share it with me. I would say, "Wow, this is an awesome idea." Um, so basically, I can always say to him, he's a leader in a true sense of technology. And for me personally, when you have persons like that, you stay close to them, and because you never know when the opportunity will come when you will actually come together and do big and great things for our people. So since and that was about normally 6 years ago, and we're still going. He bang-sided to me, I bang-sided to him, and we try to support each other.
Okay. Perry, anything
Yeah.
you want to add to that?
Yeah, no, I mean, that's pretty much it. I mean, Clifford is right. One of the things that's lacking in our community, is working with each other and trying to help each other. So, I would, call Clifford with some ideas and thoughts. He would give me his time. He would give me, his ideas. I had some stuff here that I could, help the Caribbean Coding Academy with. I think I prepared a course that they can do. But mainly, what I like about Clifford is he understands the future. He understands that we are in a period of time when we're going through a digital transformation on a global basis. Right? What was then is not going to be the future. And in order for Grenada, the island of spice. you know, Got to give a little shout out to that. We understand that the island is not going to be, prosperous in the future if we don't adapt to the technology and the technological revolution that's currently taking place. So, what I like about Clifford is that he thinks big. A lot of people in our community, it's me, right? Like Clifford said, I'm a straight shooter. It's all talk, no action, right? But with Clifford and I hope myself, it's all action, less talk, right? And we don't care, what the haters say and all that. So because we are like-minded, we are trying to push a narrative, not a narrative. We're trying to push not only for Grenada but for the entire Caribbean in order for the region to be prosperous into the future. So now, because we've been talking, now the 6AI opportunity in regards to our software has come up, and the Caribbean is one of the areas. So 6AI has an international development strategy because where digital transformation needs to take place the most is in the Caribbean region. But everything has to start with strategy. So our software, right, is applicable to businesses, organizations, government, schools, everybody. It's agnostic because at the end of the day, everybody needs a strategy, and in order to transform, you have to have a strategy. So basically, we came together, and as you saw in the press release, we have a mutually beneficial relationship. Clifford will obviously be helping, with the penetration of our software sales and marketing in the region, using it in school and to create impact and away we go. So we have big dreams. We're not Clifford and I are not sitting here thinking, hey, you know, we're a small island, we're minorities, but we're looking to build significant impact and billion-dollar opportunities. That's what we're going for. And sometimes when you talk like that, it kind of scares our people, but that's too bad. That's their problem, not ours, right?
Okay.
Awesome.
Good stuff. So just to do a reset here, we are speaking with Clifford Browne, CEO and founder of the Caribbean Coding Academy, and Perry Douglas, CEO and co-founder of six AI technologies. And there's a lot of questions. And I always come with conversation pieces just in case, but the audience is already ready to go. So first conversation, no, this is good. The first conversation piece is the food plane says, what age group or experience level does the academy cater to most? And are there programs for most complete beginners? So that would be for Clifford.
Yes, so that's a very good question. So we actually cater for kids 7 years and older, and that's a primary school student. And to be honest with you, you do have a lot of talented kids out there, and I would encourage parents. Hey, if you realize that your child it has a gift for technology, expose him or her to that technology at a very early age. So we cater for 7 year old. And we had 7 year old here that was doing Python, that were building website, that were doing little apps and games. So we have the primary school, and then we have the secondary schools, and then we have the adult program. The adult program goes up to, you know, people who are in the 60s. I mean, and sometimes these individuals just want to reskill themselves. They just want to make sure that they could use the tech, that they could use the tools. So we actually have an open policy. You don't need to come with any pre-qualification. You just have to come with an open mind to learn the skill set. And we had experience where persons, you know, they never used a computer before. So we start from the basic and build you up. And that's the idea here. The idea is to expose people to the technology. And if they are disciplined and if they are consistent, I think they could do a whole lot. And we see how we impact individual lives. We see how persons will come in the academy and today, not only their lives are impact, but the family life are impact. The economical status increase. They're living comfortable now. So we basically want to change the lives of people. And if you are not encouraging your kids and supporting your kids with regards to technology, I think you're doing injustice, because at the end of the day, technology will impact your kids one way or the other. And most of the jobs tomorrow or today will be impacted by technology. So we are encouraging people, you know, with regards to business persons or kids or, women, young girls, embrace technology. Learn, get acquainted with the tools in technology, because that's where the world is going. And if you don't, you'll be doing an injustice to yourself. And if you
Yes.
don't push it onto your kids, you'll be doing an injustice to your kids, because they will not be competitive, and they will not, they will basically have a terrible life. I mean, skill is important. Learn a skill, yes, that's very true. But even the skill aspect of it, technology has a major part to play with it. So the idea is to embrace the tool and be competitive.
You know what? I am so jacked because you guys are out of bounds with your responses. And there are so many questions that I'm just all myself, my producer, we got the easy job. You guys got the hard job today because the audience is on fire. So good stuff.
That's good. That's good.
And always hail up to producer Matt. Again, we had a hiccup at the beginning, but he found a way to push it through. So next conversation piece, food playing again says, and I think Perry can start with this first, and then maybe Clifford wants to add. How do you see coding contributing to economic growth and opportunity in the Caribbean region over the next 5 to 10 years?
Well, I would, coding, is fundamental, right? But I want to say also the Caribbean Coding Academy has evolved beyond just coding. And as when you go to the website, you'll see a whole bunch of different things. But I think I'm going to go with what Clifford says. It doesn't necessarily mean that's not necessarily about coding per se. What it is about the adaptation to technology, as Clifford was saying.
That's right.
So keep in mind that even in the future, right? Even with AI, coding may be even done by AI or whatnot. But if you have a base in coding and if you have a base in technology, you'll be able to go and you'll be able to, fit in. So for example, if you have an education in university or whatnot, right, but you have technology skills, you become highly employable, right? and
Certainly.
and and that's the thing. So I want to give an example. I want to give a shout out to my friends at Buy Blacks, obviously, who I write for. And obviously, you guys know my daughter is the digital marketing person over there. Um, my daughter obviously is in university, and she's having a formal education, but because how she actually got the job at Buy Black is she did a lot of stuff for me. She literally built my website, did a lot of marketing strategy, data stuff, data analysis. She did that. So Camille, I told Camille, hey, she's looking for a job, and Camille had an opening, and because my daughter had those skills, which she developed with working with my consulting company, Douglas Blackwell, she's highly employable. So the point is that you have to have some understanding, some base in technology, because everything, as Clifford is saying, is absolutely correct. Technology applies to multiple things in the universe, multiple things in terms of having a job. So going to university is not enough these days, right?
Mm.
Most jobs now. I was, just sorry. Another thing, finance jobs, right? For example, you could graduate from a top business school and you could go into finance. You'd be getting 100. You'd start with 150, 100 something $1,000 a year. But it's harder now because most of those entry level jobs, right? AI is doing it,
That's
right?
right.
So you have to lift your game. You have to lift your game, and it's up to you, and it's your responsibility, okay, to engage technology to see how best they can apply to what you're trying to do and what you're trying to strive for, right?
Awesome.
Clifford,
So,
you want to add on
yeah,
that?
yes, let me add to that. I coding, especially for the young ones, it empowers young kids because there's an aspect of coding that involves critical thinking. And
Yes,
critical
yes.
thinking and reasoning is very, very important, regardless of what you decide or what you aspire to be in life. So there's a critical thinking, there is a reasoning, there is a logics, and these are skill set that goes very well with STEMs subjects, be it the science, the technology, engineering, and math. Um, so all of these courses, all of these subjects need a kind of discipline. That being said, though, um, regardless of what you want to do in life, technology going to play a major part because the job that exists today will not exist tomorrow, next week, 10 years from now. They're gonna be jobs you never heard about before, and because of that, I think in the Caribbean, because we are solely based on tourism, we also are based on agriculture, and we do a lot of services. But I think COVID actually would have taught us a lot because it basically showed that we needed to diversify. Um, when we were disrupted by that pandemic, you know, tourism was impact, and you had to look agriculture, especially in the Caribbean. Today or tomorrow, you have a hurricane, a storm that will be impacted also. So how do you diversify, and what can you diversify in? Because you don't want to be every time something happens, you have to go out there and plead for help and beg and whatever. You don't need to do that. We have to be an independent country, independent people. Hence the reason why technology and tech service is crucial. Hence the reason why if you could export that service, tech services, which basically impact every other sector, that is critical. So we have to make sure that our kids, and I can give you a personal experience of my kids. I took my kids back to Grenada at the age of 3, 4, and 6. And they actually would have, again, it goes back to the book Rich Dad Poor Dad. Around my dinner table, we only talk about tech, finance, and my wife is into the medical field and or the health field. And that's what we talk about all the time. And they grew up in that environment. And to be honest with you, whatever support they need, whatever we were doing, we got them involved in it. And today, I mean, although they did not follow my track, but they have a some understanding of technology. And like Perry said, because they were around that table when it was discussed. So they actually, it is part of the DNA now, and they started at a very, very early age. And when they apply to colleges and they say and they have on the application that they know, drone technology, they know something about Python software, whatever, their application is given a second look. People look at that application and say, hey, you know something? This person basically is more competitive than the other person who may have all A's. And here's the reason why it's important to not to have your kids, get degrees or certificates in these skill set, but to have an understanding of it and to be exposed to it. Today, my kids, I mean, and thank God, I mean, they're all my son. He's a sergeant in UT Southwestern Medical, and I have my two daughters. They're in fourth year medical school, but they have background and they're pretty much well equipped. And I was able to do that by just having them around us and seeing how I am focused, I am disciplined, I'm consistent, and like I have my policy in life: either you kill me or I kill it, because I don't give up. you know,
That's right.
and that's the attitude we need to have. Yes, you're gonna have tough times, and they did have tough times in the Caribbean. But I always say, if I had left them in the U.S., I would have. I'm not too sure what would have eventually happened to them. So I took them here and give them that discipline. And today I'm one of the happiest father are there. But again, it's a sacrifice you have to make. And sometimes, it pays off. Not sometimes, most of the time it pays off. So that's how technology will impact young people, and not only young people who are looking to change, people who are looking to reskill, retool, embrace technology. There's nothing difficult about it. One of our biggest problems is fear to act and fear to do stuff.
Yep.
All right, good stuff. The comments keep on rolling. So myself, we're just letting you guys drive the ship. We're just steering the ship this morning. This is a beautiful. We may have to have you back on a regular basis. Next up, Food Plane has another question saying, "What do you believe is the biggest misconception Caribbean leaders have about AI and data strategy?" Good question.
I think I could answer that. And it's kind of funny. Most of the Caribbean leaders went, and I'm not knocking any of the universities in the Caribbean, but it's something I picked up recently and I understood very clearly. Most of the Caribbean leaders would have graduated from Caribbean universities. And attending a Caribbean university tend to be, whew, this is tough to say, but I will say it. It tend to be an educational system that basically is like a slave camp. It reminds you of the slave master mentality.
Yep.
They
Yep.
they don't give you the opportunity to think outside of the box
Yes.
for some reason. The universities in the Caribbean, for some reason, you know, it's not producing leaders that think outside of the box, that have independent thoughts, vision, innovative. They're not doing that. What they are doing is producing individuals that stick with the narrative, the colonial narrative, stick with with what other people tell them, be it the World Bank, the IMF, or other people, and it's kind of funny because I was telling Perry the other day, Barbados is one of the main country that or island that a lot of visitors go to, and they're well known in terms of tourism. Most of the revenue comes from tourism, and
Yep.
there isn't any Bajan that own a hotel in Barbados, as far as
Wow.
I know. You
Wow.
know, and that speaks volume. I mean, the people who own it are the foreigners who come in, and the people there are happy to work for them. And I think it goes the same thing for maybe Jamaica, maybe Grenada, and other Caribbean islands. Hence the reason we are so passionate that we have to empower our own people. We
Yep.
have to say, listen, you know, we need to do more as a people. We need to innovate. We need to create. We need to think big. We need to have an impact and forget about the fear. If you get like-minded people and you could work together, you could come together, you could do great things. You could do awesome stuff. So
Yep.
I don't have much confidence in Caribbean leaders, sad to
Yep.
say, because the Caribbean should have been a better place. I was listening to the Mighty Sparrow the other day, and he was talking about federation, and he said that he blamed Jamaica for the downfall of federation. And he said one thing. He said, if we had stick with federation, where you have one, it's like EU, just
Yes.
one Caribbean people, we'd have been
Yep.
way, way advanced today. We would have been way, way advanced in terms of everything. But again, the strategy was great, divide and conquer, and maybe there was somebody who was pushing that agenda, you know.
Yeah.
But hence the reason why but the world is changing, and you're gonna have new leaders, new thinkers, and I hope that I will be around to say, a one Caribbean with
If
one vision.
I just want to add to what Clifford is saying. There is a fundamental problem in the Caribbean, which is the challenge of leadership, particularly authentic leadership. And what he's saying is a fundamental truth, right? Because the leaders that get educated, they become reinforcers of the colonial system,
That's right.
right? They take on the legacy of colonialism. If you look at Barbados, for example, right? After and Sir Hilary Beckles, a great historian, has written about this. If you read his books, in Barbados, after independence, there was a deal made, right, an unofficial deal, where the white owners of the old plantations and the businesses and whatnot says, "Hey, we'll take care of the economics, okay, and you guys take care of the politics." So that's why you
Okay.
see all black people in politics in Barbados, right? But the white guys own all the businesses. Okay, the five top wealthy families in Barbados are all white. Okay, in all the major industries. So the black so-called leaders at independence, Hilary Beckles really explains it in his book, right? He's a professor at University of West Indies, and he's also vice chancellor at University of Mona campus, I think, in Jamaica. I'm not 100% sure, but he breaks it down. It comes down to a question of leadership. How could you make a deal where you want prestige, you want status, you want whatever, so you say we'll do the politics, but you have no economics, right? The world works economics first, then politics. But if
Yes,
you have politics and you have no economics, as you know, you have no power. So the
that's right.
politicians are rendered powerless, and they're at the whim of the guys and the families, using Barbados as an example, who have the money. Okay, that must change. Okay, and one of the things 6AI is doing from a technology perspective, a lot of he mentioned the World Bank and the IMF and all that. What happens is that the European Union or the IMF, World Bank, they will create a project. Let's say a project in climate change, and they will say, okay, here's $50 million for you guys to create a project. Okay. But in order for you to get the $50 million, okay, you have to hire our Western consultants, McKinsey, PwC, Deloitte, all those guys. And guess what? 50% usually of that money, let's say $25 million, goes to the consultants.
That's right.
Okay. Goes to
More
the
than
Western.
50.
So now you're only left with 25 million. And after the corruption and after all this kind of stuff, there's no money left for the project. I challenge you to find any Western aid, any UN based type of aid or money that has come in, grant money that has come in for these projects. I challenge you to find one that actually has worked and that actually has been sustainable in the benefit of Caribbean people.
That's
Okay,
right.
so what 6AI's mission is to do is to replace those consultants. So if you give them the $50 million for a project, guess what? They have software, the people in the Caribbean, the people in the government, the agencies, whatnot, they have software so they can do the strategy, the technical things themselves. Because all the consultant does is access technology, access information, put together a presentation for you and give it to you and take your $25 million. Now, if we can put the power, okay, of technology and software in the hands of our own people and empower them with the ability to build and write their own strategy, we are making change. Okay. And no more of this nonsense of having fear and all that kind of stuff. We have to empower ourselves internally, okay, and not look to others to do for us what we must do for
Before we
ourselves.
start, no one is coming to save us. No
No one's
Yes,
one
coming
is
to
I
save
coming
us.
to save us.
that is
No
true.
one's coming to save us.
That I will agree. Gentlemen, again, you are hitting it out of the park. The amount of comments, what? It's going fire. So we're gonna push through. So Peter Dennis says, "Good morning, gentlemen. Good morning, Peter, to you. Hope you are doing fine." A question from Kevin for Perry. Says, question for Perry. Great to help the West Indies. What are you doing locally for the community? So, are you Kevin? Are you talking about the Black Canadian community? But I'll let Perry touch that one.
I'm not necessarily sure what I'm doing local to the community, but I'm doing my job. I'm looking to build businesses. I'm looking to build wealth. I contributed in multiple different places. I'm also a writer for Buy Black, so I contribute a lot of information. If you go to buyblacks.com, you can read a lot about of what I write, which is a lot of empowering stuff. So check out buyblacks.com and you will see a lot of what I do. I'm adding, I'm adding my, my specialty, my intellectual capacity, and but people have to read it. That's the thing. So that's if you want to say what I'm doing for Black community, that's what I'm doing. It's about
Can I
intellectually empowering people. That's what it's about.
can I add to this? Can I add to that, please?
Sure, sure.
Um, we Caribbean Coding Academy, and I had a couple of friends of mine in New York, and I this question came up before, and it was directed to me because I spent 27 years in New York, and New York had benefited me in a lot of ways, my schooling and my knowledge and everything else. And the idea was to partner with someone in New York to start a coding academy. You know, because a lot of the underserved areas, and beat in Canada, if you are ambitious and you want to make a difference and you want to do something impactful, we are available. 6AI technology is available. Caribbean Coding Academy is available. If you have the
Available.
space, if you have the location, and you want to get young kids involved in tech, I or Perry or Dr. Vibe could, you know, the idea here, if there's a problem, let's find a solution. And let's
Yep.
find a solution together. And let's see
Yep.
how we can help. And if there's a need for this service in Canada, we can do it. But we could only do it with your help. If you
Yep.
can find the location, you can find the place, we could come in and make a difference.
Yep.
And it's not what someone else could do for you, but what we can do for our people
Yep.
as a collective group. And I know there's funding available in Canada for this. So it should not be as difficult for me in Grenada here. But at the same time, we are open to helping anyone who want to make a difference with regards to technology in Canada or in the US. We have the framework, and we have the people. We could do it virtually, and if need to, you can hire people locally in Canada to help. We have partnered with companies like UiPath. UiPath trade on the New York Stock Exchange. They trade on the Canadian Stock Exchange. We have partner like Greenlight Consulting, and they could actually have people on the ground in Canada to help. So the idea here is, hey, together we could do it, and we just have to, if that's what your question is all about.
Yep.
Okay. Next conversation piece from Matt. Hello, Matt. Good to see you here. He goes, I was wondering what your thoughts are on AI. As someone who's in the film industry, AI being brought in can be very frustrating. But what is it like for the coding world?
Um, to be honest with you, I mean, obviously, we're in AI, but this is a more of a creator question, right? In terms of AI being brought into the industry. So, what I would say, this is an opinion in regards to should you be using AI in filmmaking or whatnot. So, for me, from my opinion, if AI can help with the dynamics, with the features, with the special effects and everything, absolutely. But if you're talking about AI taking jobs away from creators and writers and stuff like that, I'm totally against that, because at the end of the day, if you understand large language models, okay, large language models can't think, they can't reason, okay. And if you doubt that, Apple threw a bomb the other day with Apple Research threw a bomb the other day with a paper basically saying that. So from a large language model perspective, I have no problem with AI in terms of the animation, the technical stuff, and all that. That just makes sense. But if we're talking about AI writing articles, writing things for people and taking jobs away, from writers, for me, I believe in the art. All right, I like the arts, and I want humans to do it. So again, this is my personal view and my personal opinion. I'm also a writer, so I'm a creator. So that is my view and that is my opinion. And one of the things we that the society has to work out is the proper use of AI and AI safety, because nowadays I was having a conversation with my wife the other day. You can't trust everything you see. Things that are AI generated and all that. So just like everything else, it's not the technology that's bad, right? It's not the technology that's bad. It's the human beings who decide how they want to use it. And we all have choices in how we use technology. And for me, my personal opinion, I would not be okay with on the creative side in regards to AI taking it over. And what type of world do we live in? We live in a world of gray, right? We need humans. Like, we can't live in a world of gray, right? We need art, and art to me is a very big thing. And I don't want AI touching the arts.
I
That's my
Let me just add to that. I believe AI in the art field, or that the, I think it's very disruptive. I think there's a lot of bad actors out there, meaning that there are persons who basically using AI to create a lot of misinformation, a lot of
yes.
image that basically is mimicked. I mean, Dr. Vibe, they could create you.
Oh yeah,
Um,
I've
Dr.
created
Web's the
AI.
original. They didn't get him right.
I've created AI images of myself.
Oh, really?
I've
Okay.
done that. Yeah.
down to the voice, down to
Yes.
everything.
Yes, I've done
And
that. I've done that
yes,
as an experiment.
Scary.
there
Yes.
you go. And if someone with bad intentions have those tools,
Hmm.
that's it.
Yep.
So again, AI in itself is good. The person who are using it, the bad actors, the good actors, they determine whether or not it's productive or
Absolutely.
counterproductive.
Absolutely.
Um, Sometimes we talk about gun violence. A gun by itself cannot do anything.
That's right.
If
That's right.
someone with bad intentions create that problem,
Okay.
and I would keep it right there.
All right. Next question, because they just keep on coming, gentlemen. I'm going to meet you there. All right. Uh, Peter Dennis says, Mr. Douglas, I see and I'm impressed you are a McGill graduate. Kudos to you. As an entrepreneur, one needs to have the expertise in their endeavors. How did you get your AI software experience?
Man, good question. So yes, I'm a proud. Um, you know, I come from a family of McGill graduates. My Uncle Walter, Doctor Walter Douglas, was a McGill graduate. I'm a McGill graduate. My son, to McGill. My daughter is my youngest daughter. She's going into her last year at McGill. Um, and I'm also, actually, this is a good time to plug it. So 6AI Technologies is also in partnership with with McGill University School of Business, um, the Datasphere Lab. So in our software development, um, McGill University is working with 6AI. You can go to the website, you'll see 6AI there. So we are working with McGill in the Datasphere Lab in regards to the development of our software. And what we are providing, actually, the program, the Datasphere Lab at McGill, what we are providing is we are providing students with real life work with real companies, right? And that's really what the program director, Professor Hossein, wants for that for the particular lab. So again, coincidentally, you mentioned McGill, but I wanted to mention that 6AI Technologies has a partnership with McGill University School of Business Datasphere Lab. How I got into, I'm going to try to speed this up.
Yeah.
How I got into the AI software development is I started a company called Douglas Blackwell. And when I was at Douglas Blackwell, I was basically doing consulting in terms of business enterprise and stuff like that. I soon discovered that to scale my business, I'm not going to be able to compete with the PwCs or McKenzies or whatnot. So I created, as everybody knows, applied intelligence. And applied intelligence, there's a 6 steps to applied intelligence. So long story short, I wanted to speed it up from there, from Douglas Blackwell, and the development of my applied intelligence architecture, which I ran with clients. I turned that into building software, and basically that's how. I'm not an engineer by background, okay, but I'm a math guy, and if you got your math, it's not very difficult to transition. So that's how I got into software.
Wow. Okay. Next conversation piece. We got some quick comments here. Dr. Tachi says, hello, all. Good to see you here, Dr. Tachi. The food plane says, there she is, the one and only Dr. Tachi. Yeah, she is the one and only Dr. Tachi. Let's move on a little bit further. Oh, back to the food plane. Perry, how has working with McGill's Datasphere Lab shaped your approach to AI innovation?
Um, you know, to be quite honest with you, working with the McGill Lab, it's a mutual beneficial thing, right? What we are really trying to do with the McGill Lab is, as we deploy our software out there, we've created a feedback loop at McGill. So the students will create a program where clients using our software will give feedback, okay? And as we get that feedback in, we will iterate. So what I'm trying to capture is I'm trying to build my software based on what my clients are saying they want and they like. Because at the end of the day, I could be like, "Hey, I want this in the software. I like this. It looks great." It doesn't matter what I think. What's important is what the customer thinks. So McGill is helping me with the resources to build a feedback loop. They're obviously going to help with the interface and all that. But what I've learned, and this is who I am, is I love the lab. What I mean by the lab, everybody can have their own lab. The most important thing to success is learning. And every single day I learn something, I get better. So I go into that. And the other thing I like too is that young people are fantastic. The young people are where the ideas come from. The young people are the ones with the brains, they're elastic, that could come up. And I want to suck in that young energy. So the McGill Lab is great, and it just helps me to learn because sorry, one more thing. So the applied intelligence, what I developed is based on Einstein's theory of discovery. And what Einstein basically says is that if you got a good idea, whatnot, don't be afraid to test it. And as you test your ideas, you will discover things. Okay. And that's how he discovered the theory of relativity. So for me, from a base perspective, right, learning, right, building your learning capacity and building your intellectual capacity is how success happens. And that's really what what I enjoy from the McGill Datasphere Lab.
Okay, good stuff. Another conversation piece. Food Plane says, love how both guests are merging tech with purpose. Coding and AI aren't just skills, they're tools for transformation. Kevin asks, how are you guys funded?
Well, for me, currently I'm being funded, subsidized by the government of Grenada. We actually, reach out to organizations internationally for funding also, or for help or support. We attract students from different part of, not when was it, last year we attract some students from Ghana. We I think this summer we're going to be getting some students from the US that want to come and spend 2 months with us. So we basically, Caribbean Coding Academy, we get our support from work that we provide, service we offer, persons who like what we're doing and want to donate or contribute, want to see how they can help, be it help in hardware, be it help monetarily, um, be it mentorship. But that's how we get our support. We get support again. We in 7 schools on the island, secondary schools, where we teach technology, Python. We do a little bit of everything in there. Drone technology, game programming, AI. We do quite a few different things in there, and we also export our services as well as we get help from friends and persons who love what we're doing and want to support us.
100%. Well, six AI is a private company, so we are funded, but we are the normal company funded by investors. But I would encourage people to go to Caribbean Coding Academy is a nonprofit organization, right? It's nonprofit. So I would encourage you to go to, particularly Grenadians in the diaspora. I would encourage you to go to their website, okay, and donate to Caribbean Coding Academy, because if you donate to Coding Academy, your money is going to be going to the young people to help develop programs in the secondary school, even the primary school. So by what you're doing by donating to the Caribbean Coding Academy, which is a nonprofit, you are definitely helping young people. So I would encourage people to donate, because your money, as you know, will go to with a really good cause, and they are a nonprofit.
Okay, Dr. Chachi says hello to the food plane. And then we've got Doug has a question. Greetings, gents. Question for Mr. Douglas. As a straight shooter myself, wondering if you have any current AI applications at all. The website seems very basic for an AI tech company.
You're asking us if we have any current AI applications. No, our application is 6AI technology. That's our software. The website is intended for you, to get an understanding of it. That's it. But we're not, we're not going to give away our business, on the website. So we don't have we have a single product, and our single product is called My 6AI, which is software for strategy. That's what our product is. We're not a software developing company developing a whole bunch of stuff for AI. We are a single product software, which is my 6AI, which is specifically for helping organizations and people with their strategy development. We are currently deployed with individuals, so we are in a testing mode now of our software, but we have people actually using it. So that's what we are. We're not building applications for everybody. We have a product that basically will be launched.
Okay. Next up, Dr. Chachi says, I'm thoroughly enjoying the conversation. The food plane is clap emojis. Dr. Chachi says, what role do you think AI will have in changing the narrative of foreign ownership in the Caribbean and cultivating effective leadership?
Let Clifford take that one.
Um, Perry, you want to go with this?
Okay, yeah. I mean, let me just see what role, narrative, ownership. I think I will go with this one, but I think what Clifford said is important. I think what is important, right? Technology is an empowering tool, right? That's really what it is. And I think the fundamental problem we have in the Caribbean, we always like to be taking instructions from foreign ownership or whatnot because they come in with the resources. I think what AI will do, and particularly what my 6AI, that's the software, what my 6AI will do is by giving people technology, okay, that will empower them, right, and that will be able, they will be able to develop strategy. They will be able to, for example, they'll be like, okay, we can do this ourselves, as opposed to having to bring in consultants, to help us, because the fundamental problems are, hey, consultants cost tens and hundreds of thousands of dollars. What we are saying, and as you see what AI has come in with, and even like with Chat GPT, for example, everything is about access to information and knowledge and learning. So if you're able to have a tool, you can develop your own ideas, and by developing your own ideas, you can construct a strategy in how you're going to develop, how you're going to sell, how you're going to finance it, and figure out you can do it yourself. So as opposed to now always having foreign investors, like a foreigner to come in and say, "Hey, you do this," and you working for them, you can propose your stuff. You can go out there and raise capital, or find ways to raise capital, create relationships. Okay, so the whole idea is of software is to empower you to do a lot of these things for yourself. And if you're able to do things, start things, and empower yourself, what's going to happen to you? You're going to become equity owner. You're going to become owners, right? Not employees. And that's where it all comes down to, the ability to own your stuff, as opposed to working for others who own that, and your workers. So I don't know if that answers the question, but I think that Dr. Tachi's question is right on. AI is an empowering tool, and if we can use it to empower ourselves, then obviously that will help us from a success and a career and an entrepreneurial perspective.
Okay, so let me add to this. I think first the mindset have to change in the Caribbean. We have a
Yes.
lot of leaders in the Caribbean that is still, um how should I put it? They're still way behind with regards to where the world is going. Some of them don't even understand technology. They don't care about technology. They don't want to invest the time to understand it. They basically comfortable in their space, and there's no need for them to create, to innovate, to plan, and to make a difference. Especially those who are in public service, and to them, this is a job that pays me. Whether they come in, whether they don't come in, whether they're
Yes.
productive or not productive, they don't care. So we need a revolution of the mind, a revolution of how we think, what we do, how we do it. Um, and that can only happen when you start training persons at a young age, and when you're exposing them to the possibility of this is possible, this is what you can accomplish, or this is what you can do. Um, as Caribbean people, and if you look at the Caribbean very seriously, um, we continue to depend on tourism. We
Yeah.
continue to sell sand, water, and everything else. You know, um, we are not doing anything to diversify our economy. And for
Yes.
those who are in Canada, in the US, wherever they might be, and they have a lot to offer, they themselves, and I hate to say, they themselves, they are trapped. They are trapped because they believe that they cannot exist in the world, or in the matrix that exists, because they're not being respected. Regardless of how bright you are, how intelligent you are, how good you are, when and I use myself as an example of that. When you're working for corporate America, there's just so much you can accomplish. there's a ceiling for you. And
Absolutely.
sometimes you want to be appreciated, you want to create, you want to do, you personally, you have so much to offer, but the system, for some reason, doesn't allow you to do it.
Yes.
And hence the reason why presently you have so much Americans, and maybe I'm not too sure for Canadians, moving to Africa, looking for opportunities, seeing what they could do different, moving to back to the Caribbean. So the leaders in the Caribbean have to be changed. Their mindset have to be changed. We need new leadership. We need young leadership. We need we need a disruption. We need a revolution in terms of how we think, what we think, and again, telling ourselves no one is coming to save us. Yes,
Yep.
people are coming to exploit us, but not to save us.
That's exactly right.
Yeah,
Can you just leave Dr. Tachi's question up there because I
Sure.
think that's a really brilliant question. Because as Clifford was talking, I'm going to give you a real example because examples are the best. So, Clifford, has a background in accounting and finance, and he's an ex Wall Street guy. So he's done this nonprofit, but he's also still an entrepreneur, looking to do big things. So, if I could mention Clifford, so Clifford mentioned to me, hey, I have this condo development that he's working on, right? But I think he was kind of stuck or whatnot. So I said, let's deploy 6AI strategy software, okay, to help you come up with your strategy and your ideas. So we went through a session, right? And then, Clifford went into it thinking, okay, this is what I have to do. This is what I have to do. But after he went through a session with my with my 6AI software, it was like, wow, this is really what the strategy is. This is what I'm going to do. So it kind of rejuvenated the project. And from
yeah,
there, right, from there, I have another client in the UK who's a big developer, right? And who's developed projects in the Caribbean. So I reached out to him and I said to him, he's from the Caribbean too. I said to him that I have somebody in Grenada that who needs your help, your expertise and your experience as a big time developer who can get big time financiers to come and help. I hooked up those two guys, and now Clifford and this other
happy,
individual
yeah,
is, yeah, is working together, right? So Dr. Tashi's question, what role does AI play in changing the narrative? Well, what it did, okay, as opposed to Clifford maybe having to go out and get consultants and pay tens of hundreds of thousands of dollars, he used a simple software that started something, gave him a strategy, gave him confidence, okay, and then now his attitude, working with me, I said, hey, I have a contact that would be great. Put them together, okay, and this is where we are today. So this is a perfect example of the role. What AI does, it replaces, okay, a lot of the stuff, a lot of the time, effort, money. So if Clifford had to do this, I'm sorry, I'm just trying to do it. If Clifford had to do this to get his project started, now he only has to do this. It's called productivity and technology, and that is the value in AI, and that is the value in 6AI, particularly in regards to our strategy and our software. So,
yeah.
Dr. Turkey, that's a great question.
So,
So, I
so
wanted
Perry,
to just
let me just add to that, Perry. So we have two projects. A 30-unit condominium project with the best view. And not only the best view, but Grenada is known for everything beautiful. And then we have another project on the northern part of the island that is a private development. And the idea was, how do we market that those two projects to persons or people in the diaspora? And to me, it was one of those strategies that I need to make sure that it's impactful. It speaks to persons not only they getting involved in the project, be it an investor, or be it a homeowner, but to really touch that person and make a connection to that person. And I'm familiar with a lot of the AI tools, DeepSeek, ChatGPT, Gemini, and I use them almost every day in what I'm doing. And as someone who want to do big projects, you know, I'm looking for a specific marketing strategy. And I tell you, 6AI technology forced me to narrow down my vision and ask me questions that I never really thought about before. And engaging the application, it wasn't like, hey, this is what I'm thinking, this is what I'm giving you, but it actually having a conversation with you and letting you know that, something, why not think this way? Why not do it this way? You know, did you think about this? So at the end of the day, that product belongs to you. It's not something that, be it you put something in DeepSeek and it gives you something and you edit it, but the majority of it is still coming from an AI platform. No, 6AI technology actually use your words. It forces you to think outside of the box. It basically expose you to things that and I'm not saying that because Perry, and I, we are friends or business colleagues, but he has a very, very good tool. And I encourage persons who, I know it's not ready yet, it's still being demo, but engage it and you will see what I'm talking about. Because for me, it was, hey, I need to get these projects off the ground. I need to make sure that it's more than just selling luxury condominiums or a luxury development, but it actually connecting to the individual that want to sell to and telling the individuals, hey, something, you know, culturally, socially, I could connect to you on this project.
All right, good stuff. Food Plane says, "Oh my, the mighty sparrow, Soka. Soka is spelled with one C, not two. Love the mighty sparrow, Trinidad's treasure. Jean and Dinah, Melanie. Don't get me started." He says, "Not Melanie, I meant Melda." Good morning also to Derek T. Tuggle. Good to have you here. Says, "Good morning, Dr. Vibe Show." Food Plane. Good morning. Food Plane says, "Hi back to Derek." Dr. Taddy says, "Hi to Derek." We're coming near to the end. We are powering through. Let me go to the Food Plane says, "Is there any collaboration with local schools or government to expand digital education access?"
Um, Currently, as you may know or may not know, the idea was to bring coding or digital technology to all schools on the island. Again, Grenada, as far as I know, Grenada is the only school in Grenada is the only island in the Caribbean that taking this kind of initiative on a different level. Because of financial implication and constraint with the government, with the Ministry of Education, I think there's so much they can do, and hence the reason why any help from outside will or if someone needs to sponsor a school, someone needs to sponsor a child, because we do provide after school program here at the academy, that is welcome.
Yes,
Um,
absolutely.
yeah, that is welcome. If you want to sponsor a child, if you want to sponsor a school, there are schools that we sponsor that there are different homes on the island for kids that for some reason maybe the parents or the guardian is not surviving or not around or these are foster kids and we tend to provide services for them. So these are things you can do. But the idea here is, everybody have a purpose here, and the idea is to make an impact and try to help in any which way you can help. And we will appreciate it. But it's all about making a difference and leaving no one kid behind.
100%. So I would actually encourage that if anybody is looking, you're given money, but what you're doing is you're making an investment in the future of that young person. So, if a family doesn't have enough resources, to pay or, for a laptop or things like that. But if you can donate money to a particular kid that you may know in the region, or ask for one, and that kid now gets coding training or whatnot, you have probably just participated in creating a future leader, a future success story, a future entrepreneur. Okay, but these things don't happen by air. It takes capital. Okay, and if you want to give a donation or something, give it to something, to a young person in Grenada who will be able to be trained in technology. And I think, it might be a small amount, but that would be life changing. And you have to plant trees where you may never sit under that shade, and that's really what is important. So, the nonprofit organization Clifford is doing is wonderful. So if you do want to contribute, donating to that organization would be a really good step.
And and Perry, another, and Dr. Vira, another good example. If you're a key expert in whatever field you are in,
Yep.
we have access to the school, and you want to come to the island, and you want to, be a motivator. You want to come and talk about something, or you want to, provide 2 day workshop, 3 days workshop.
Yep.
We could enable that. You could work with us, and we could actually give you access to the school, give you access to the students, where you could touch someone's lives and change a life forever. So these things are possible, and we are open to engaging anyone who wishes to do that. My battery is going down right now.
Yeah.
See?
Okay. Well. Okay. I was going to start shutting it down. Last Food Plane has a last comment. Follow your dreams, or you will continue to work for someone who did.
Awesome.
Well put. Well put. Well, gentlemen, I want to say thank you for taking the most important thing, your time and your battery time to hang out with us today. Really appreciate it. Producer, if you can put up contact information on, so Caribbean Coding Academy, there's information up on the screen and on the platforms you're watching this on replay on. It's in your comment section. Perry's information is up here. He's all over the place. Medium, LinkedIn,
Yeah.
Inclusive Gen, all over. It's 6AI Technologies. There, I want to say to both of you, thank you for again taking the time. As always, don't just manage your time, manage your energy. And remember to give yourself grace. And Mr. Clifford, I may want to see if I can get a trip down there to talk about live streaming and digital
Very
production to your
And Dr. Vibe, I'm available.
okay.
Like I said, I have 2 real estate projects. I'm looking for partners. I'm looking for investors. I'm looking, because at the end of the day, I cannot do it on my own.
No.
And if we could get some like-minded people to come on board, and we could do big and great things, I'm open.
All right. Gentlemen, have a good rest of the day. Thank you so
You
much for taking
too.
your time. Take care.
Take care.
Thanks.
All right.
Take care.
That's it, everybody. We are out. There we go. So great conversation there by everybody. All right. So as we shut it down, let's do the typical thing we do. Uh, actually, I'll do first. Coming up on this Monday's show, Laura Lala Key and Ray McMillan will be talking about international real estate. So if you, I said, past, present, or future, want to get involved in the world of international real estate, wherever you're watching this, 9 a.m. Eastern Time, Monday morning, coming up. Also, too, Dove Men Care and Dad Central, we're celebrating Father's Day. Please, if you want to be part of that, there is the link with instructions, and the campaign is being promoted on LinkedIn. Subscribe to the Dr. Vibe Show on YouTube and hit the notification button. Again, thanks for getting us to 1,830 subscribers. Actually, 1,833. Let's see if we can get 1,840. Also, follow me on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, and TikTok. Join the Morning Vibe Discord group. Please email me at dr.vibe at the dr.vibeshow.com. And also, you can hit the link on the Discord. And also, to advertise your business, product, or service on any of the platforms I'm a part of, please email me dr.at the dr.vibeshow.com. All right, you can watch replays of this epic conversation at a number of different platforms. You can watch it on the Dr. Vibe Show on Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube, the Afro Caribbean Business Network, and Ryan Oneil Knight on YouTube. As always, we close it out like this: live your life as a dream. If you can dream it, you can make it. Sometimes you have to get small to get stronger. Block assumptions, aim bigger, aim better, aim higher, aim wider. Love, faith, and respect. Don't just manage your time, manage your energy. Remember to give yourself grace. And if you're not making money, make history. Try to do both and make it better. God bless. Peace well. Keep the faith. Walk good. And we'll see you soon.
This whole thing of using your business with plant-based products, don't you think your life should reflect that too?
Juke him, Carolyn. Juke him. The family loves us here because they're saying Fitness IQ Can says put a wig on to get in.
Oh
God.
my God.
Like the ideas are just coming fast and furious here this morning. What? Okay, look at this. Global Women Ambassador. Good morning. Look forward. Okay.